transgender or even the people from the LGBTQ community, they can also avail the benefit of the assisted reproductive technology. But the same is not possible in case if they are going to avail the benefit of the Surrogacy Regulation Act, because as on date there is certain kind of the bars. So anyway, that was the basic difference. What is the difference between the Surrogacy Regulation Act as well as the Assisted Reproductive Technology Act? I'll go a very bit in some fundamental concept. Key initially the surrogacy in India was practiced either in the form of the normal surrogacy or in the form of the gestational kind of the surrogacy. Here I'm going to limit my discourse, my lecture only to the extent of the gestational surrogacy. Gestational surrogacy means where the intending couple they are going to rent the womb of a third lady, or you can say that is the third person, to complete the gestation period of 9 months to give the birth of the baby. That is why this is known as the gestational surrogacy. So far as the normal kind of the surrogacy is concerned, there are number of the mythological example whereby you can say there is no such kind of the requirement. That is anyway not the subject matter of the today's discourse also. Even today, this gestational surrogacy is a very hot debated issue, not only in India, in fact, in other countries also. Technically, if I am saying the example of including the Denmark as well as the France, in that very country, there is no scope of the any form of the surrogacy. Forget about either it is a gestational surrogacy or either it is a normal kind of the surrogacy and whatsoever. But yes, at the same time, there are certain countries whereby they are promoting the kind of the surrogacy. For example, in case of the Russia, in case of the Ukraine, in case of the Thailand, they are promoting the kind of the surrogacy. Not just promoting, I can say they are commercially exploiting the procedure of the surrogacy that is being quite popular in these very countries. But yes, at the same time, there are countries which do not allow at all. Now, this act, if I'm coming to this very act, why there was the necessity? The necessity was that you people must be aware that the Gujarat, there is a district known as the Anand, that was well known for the fertility tourism actually, because the cost of getting the baby by the process of the surrogacy is quite low comparison to the other country. In India, if I go by some sort of the data, then I can say in India the cost of having the surrogate baby is what about 15 to the 40 lakh. But at the same time, if we go by this rate, in case of the will cost around $25 to the $50,000. So keeping in view the center, especially so far as the Gujarat is concerned, it was really a well-known place. But yes, there were a number of the issues which emerged over a period of time, and it was identified that the lowest strata of the society, especially the women, they were being too much exploited in the name of the commercial surrogacy. And even in today's era, you can say this taken the shape of the fashion surrogacy, whereby you can say the kind of the people who are at the very high strata in terms of affording a high cost of the surrogacy, they think no, I don't want any kind of the baby. I don't want to give the birth to my baby because I don't want to play with my body, because after giving the birth, there might be the chances that they may not be as fit, they may not be as good in case the baby adopting the kind of the surrogacy procedure that is available in India. So these were the basic idea ki how to cut short the exploitation of the women, especially the poor women, and how to regulate the who can corner two-tier city also, whereby you can see the advertisement of the number of the clinics. They are offering the in vitro fertilization kind of the technology, or the kind of the test tube baby. That is also one subset of the part of the assisted reproductive technology. This act is now restricting completely the commercialization of the surrogacy in India. Though by these act, that is the Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021, the altruistic surrogacy is now valid in India. If I say what is the meaning of the altruistic surrogacy, it means something which is being motivated by the love as well as the compassion also. In lieu of providing the altruistic surrogacy procedure, a lady is not supposed to charge any kind of the money unless and until there are some charges which are very much essential, and these charges are nothing but the medical expenses as well as you can say that is the insurance charges that is being incurred during the gestation period, that is being of the surrogacy procedure. So now India has settled we are totally going to ban any kind of the commercial exploitation of the surrogacy, what was earlier quite prevalent in India, and it was get the name of the fertility tourism in India. But yes, at the same time, there is the altruistic surrogacy that is being possible as on date. As I told you, in case of the altruistic, it's only out of the love and the compassion. If you are having any close relationship and if someone approaches a third person, that is the lady, okay, we are having certain kind of the problem, and the problem is quite defined in the act. If someone want to have the benefit of the surrogacy, they first have to fulfill certain kind of the eligibility criteria, and the eligibility criteria is something like in the form of the certificate of the eligibility that is being given by the competent authority, that is the board. That is the board is being constituted at the state level as well as the center level as well as the district level also. They will furnish you the certificate of the eligibility, and there is the another condition, there is the need of the certificate of the essentiality also. Why it is essential to go for the surrogacy procedure also, there are certain terms and conditions under which the intending couple can obtain the certificate of the eligibility, or you can say that is the certificate of the essentiality, under the circumstances where they are suffering with certain kind of the physical conditions also, or even a person or even the intending couple have a child, but if he is or she is suffering from any kind of the disability, or if he or she is suffering with the with any kind of the medical, or you can say that is the mental disability also. At the same time, if the child is having any kind of the life threatening disorder, under the circumstances they can go ki, yes, do we have a child, but at the same time we are seeking to avail the benefit of the surrogacy to have a fresh baby, to have a new baby, because so far as the my existing child is concerned, he is suffering from certain kind of the criteria, certain kind of the mental or the physical disability. At the same time, if someone having no baby at all, but still if the intending couple are having certain medical issue may be associated with the male partner as well as the female partner. In case of the male partner, there might be issue with the number count of the sperm also. For example, because if there is not a optimum number of the sperm count, there would be the cases ki he may not be able to get a proper or successful fertilization with the ova of the female. So under the circumstances, he has to avail the benefit of the assisted reproductive technology also. And even at that particular point of time, if the assisted reproductive technology is able to get the ova as well as the sperm successfully fertilized, and if it is achieving at the level of the embryo or at the level of the blastocyst, then even if the women is not able to provide the gestation for the 9 month period, under the circumstances they have to look for their own close relative who must be ready to agree or who must be physically fit to go for that particular complex procedure, and under the circumstances they can avail the benefits. So these are the probably the most stringent circumstances that is being imposed under this particular act. Earlier there was no such kind of the restrictions. Earlier there was nothing like only you can approach the person for the purpose of being a surrogate mother who is irrespective of the fact, irrespective of the religion, irrespective of the caste, creed, or the economic strata. A person can approach anyone, subject to the fact that the lady or the commissioning mother that is going to be a surrogate mother is fit in terms of carrying the baby for that particular period of time. So this is now going to create a very stringent circumstances, and I particularly fear if government is going to control the commercialization of the surrogacy, probably these kind of the stringent circumstances may lead to the blackmailing. These kind of the circumstances may lead to the practice of the surrogacy, carve off the different kind of the circumstances what is happening in other the abuse of the drugs and all these things. There are a very stringent circumstances placed under the law, but somehow there are a lot of the escape route whereby the people are practicing all these things. Here, I just want to put a comparative example. In case of the Britain, Britain allows the altruistic surrogacy, what is in case of the India also. But in Britain, there is a very wonderful clause which provides that apart from the medical expenses, apart from the insurance cover, there are other expenses that is termed as the prescribed expenses that can be given to the surrogate mother. This provision is completely missing in so far as the Indian legislation is concerned. Because assuming the fact, if you approaches someone who is to you, or if she agrees to rent, not exactly rent, if she agrees to provide the surrogacy for a particular time period, at the same time she might be working somewhere also. At the same time, the surrogate mother, the intended surrogate mother, might have some sort of the responsibility to maintain their own child also. At the same time, she also require the maternity benefits also. At the same time, she also require to cover from the post-natal circumstances also. And you know that in India, we are probably living in the era of the C-section delivery. C-section stands for the cesarean process. There is hardly any delivery, at least to my knowledge, I have hardly seen any people whereby a delivery is being normally completed without using the C-section. And you know that is the C-section is a major operation. So a surrogate mother is going to bear the signature of the C-section for whole of the life. So this, at least there should be some sort of the provision whereby the prescribed expenses should also be provided in order to provide the sufficient livelihood, or in order to provide a very honorable compensation to the surrogate mother for the time being, that is the gestation period, as well as the procedure that is being associated beyond that, right? Now coming to the another aspect, that this act, obviously apart from the almost any kind of the act, there are certain gray area. And since it is a very nascent, it is just being enacted in the month of the January 2021, and there are certain gray area that are yet to be addressed. The another area is that, because since I have to speak on the social as well as the legal perspective also, so for the sake of the understanding, I just categorize these two areas in terms of what could be the short-term concern and what would be the long-term concern so far as the social as well as the legal perspective is concerned. Lady has agreed to provide the egg. Obviously, the egg is not easily able to be retrieved. The lady has to go with the lot of the hormonal treatment also. And in the interregnum period, this act suddenly came, which is completely banning any kind of the commercialization of the surrogacy. So tomorrow, if the lady who unfortunately provides the egg, and if there is no such kind of the safeguard, what would be the impact on that particular lady? There is no such kind of the infrastructure at all, even so far as the constitution of the appropriate authority whereby they are authorized to issue the certificate of the eligibility as well as the certificate of the essentiality, there is completely blank. As on date, people are not aware where to go. So the biggest problem what I can see in the near future is those people who are already undergoing the treatment. The question is that if any particular kind of the clinic or any in vitro fertilization clinic or any sperm bank who are going to complete the process what they have already taken, will they be penalized under the act or not? And as per the act, if someone is going to violate the procedure of the surrogacy regulation act, they would be penalized, and the kind of the offenses or the non-available kind of the offenses subject to the imposition of the heavy fine on their particular part. So these are the very short-term consequences over which the fate of the women, the fate of the intending couple are completely in limbo, and there is no clarity as on date. But yes, since the every act provide or enable the central government or the concerned authority to enact a particular rules or the regulation or the office memorandum from time to time in order to facilitate the smooth implementation of the legislation. And obviously the government will come up with such kind of the things, because there is already a number of the wires that has been emerging from the different strata of this particular society. Another thing, what is going to be the long term impact, so far as the long term impact is concerned, is that there are certain people who are already being excluded from the purview of availing the benefit of the altruistic surrogacy, and they are no one but you can say that is the LGBTQ society. And the problem is that on the one hand, the Supreme Court of India is somehow affirmed the right of these community by way of giving a new interpretation to Article 14 as well as the 21 of the Constitution of India. But at the same time, the same legislation, not exactly the same legislation, the another kind of the legislation which is being receiving the power ultimately from the Constitution of India, is now going to create a different class of the people that is going to violate the right that is being granted under Article 14 of the Constitution of India to the community of the LGBTQ. That is the long-term thing that is going to be challenged sooner or later, and the government has to address something as of now or over the coming period. Second thing, if I go from the feminist approach, and I have just gone through certain very good kind of the article whereby there is a very critical comment ki the Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021 is another attempt to reproduce the heteronormative patriarchal society. Obviously, heteronormative patriarchal society. Why? Because this act is going to exclude the LGBTQ society. That is the kind of the reason. No doubt ki there are a very good criticism, and the government has to take into consideration ki no, we have to give the equal right to these people also. They are also entitled to have the baby over a period of time. It doesn't mean ki if they are belonging to the LGBT community, they are not having the spirit of the motherhood, or they are not having the spirit of the fatherhood. Another thing is that there is the violation in terms of the Article 14 that ki a single man cannot go for the altruistic surrogacy. They cannot avail at all, and probably this is on the principle of the adoption rule also. Even in case of the Hindu adoption, a male cannot exclusively adopt a child. Obviously, so far the women is concerned, they are on the different footing, and that is the very good thing so far as the Indian case or the parameter is concerned. Another thing, what I would like to put in terms of the privacy issue also, because today we are living in the era of the privacy. This act is somehow going to violate the privacy of the intending couple also. How? Can anyone say how this is going to violate the privacy? Of course, it is going to violate the privacy, because before coming into effect of this particular legislation, any intending couple can approach to the assisted reproductive technology agencies. They were able to manage everything. In fact, there was the role of a mediator also. Actually, yesterday, in fact, for this very purpose, I watched a movie that is the Mimi, that is being available on Geo platform. So there I can see how important is the role of a mediator. Mediator can really control certain amount of things, that what is the need of the surrogate mother, whether the amount is being paid in due course of time or not. Though here, so far as the altruistic is concerned, there is no scope so far the paying of the amount, but the things is not only in terms of the payment of the amount, but women body must be respected, not only in terms of the monetary benefit, but from every angle she need the kind of the privacy also. Here, if the intending couple is going to approach a particular clinic, he has to submit the certificate of the eligibility as well as the certificate of the essentiality. That will show you are not able to have the baby. That will show you are having the impotency symptom. That will show you are suffering with the kind of the infertility. So once something is coming out of the particular domain to the public, then where is the privacy? Do not think so this is the kind of the violation of the privacy. I am not supposed to say what kind of the problem I am facing. Just by adopting a process of the surrogacy doesn't mean I have to show to the whole world okay, let's say I am not having the uterus, or I am not able to procreate the child. There is no need at all. So far as the earlier area is concerned, there was nothing. There was just one mediator, and he was able to protect the things within his government, and the things was being done very, very smoothly, except the purpose there was the number of the instances of the exploitation of the women, and that we have noticed. Another thing is that in earlier cases there was the case of the abandon of the child. Now this altruistic kind of the surrogacy clearly put point the things that even in case if there is the chances of the abortion of the surrogate child, the same cannot be done without the consent of the surrogate mother, as well as there is the requirement of the consent as well as the permission from the appropriate authority, which will prove in the writing okay, now it is the case of the abortion of the child. Otherwise the child would be left abandoned. I can here quote the very famous example of the baby M, that is the Manji case, that was basically pertaining to the Japan. There was the couple from the Japan, and they decided to have a surrogate baby. Accordingly, they travel from Japan to the India, and the male partner contributed the sperm, but the female agrees that she will not contribute the egg. But no doubt they both signed the agreement that they will have the baby post delivery and they will take care of everything else. So after completing all the initial formality, they return to the Japan. But somehow when they return to the Japan, something happened between the couple and they separated. And now the female member of that particular couple entity, she decided, no, I don't want the child. Now the future of the child, baby Manji, that come into the complete darkness, what to do? The father as well as the grandmother of the Manji surrogate child, they all travel all along from Japan to the India. And Indian authority had to think about that how to do, what to do, because there is the question of the nationality also. So that was probably the one fantastic case where without even granting the status of the citizenship, the government of India issued the visa as well as the passport to enable the baby Manji to travel from India to the Japan. And these all circumstances, these all error and the trials, it actually contributed in the form of the enactment of this fantastic piece of the legislation. And I am sure that these are going to prove a milestone in the history of the surrogacy revolution in India. And last but not the least, there are two more things that is somehow associated with the legal as well as the social perspective, is that there is one condition. If someone is going to opt for the altruistic kind of the surrogacy, if the couple is not having completed 5 years of their marriage, they cannot go for the surrogacy. So this is a kind of the things there is nonetheless a kind of the restriction whereby my right to have the baby is being delayed in terms of the imposition of the statutory 5-year terms. Without completion of the 5-year terms, you cannot go to avail the benefit of the surrogacy. And another thing, there is the, the cross boundary overlapping between the Disability Act as well as the Surrogacy Act. Because here, as I earlier pointed out, if someone having no baby only can avail the benefit, but there is just one exception. In case if you have a baby, and if the baby is suffering from any kind of the physical or the mental disability, or if he's suffering from the life threatening disorder, under the circumstances, this act somehow negate the existence of a child. Do you not think so? That this is against the dignity of the special child?
Right.
Is it not against? Obviously this is the against of the dignity of the special child, because this act is somehow going to negate the existence of that very child. It should be much better ki the child should have been get the child should have avail the benefit of the better treatment, as well as the kind of the right that is being provided under the Constitution of India, as well as the Disability Act also. Okay. And last but not the least, I think I'm running out of the time as per the timeline provided by Nidhi. There is another kind of the things, or you can say ki there is the another kind of the concern which is being raised here in India. In fact, when I was just completing my movie, so just before
Welcome, because we were waiting for such long, as even Raiji said. But one thing I will say, that it's it's really good that from last 2002 onward, whatever the commercial surrogacy which has been allowed during the tenureship of late Bajpayee ji, it was earning around 2.8 billion dollars industry. People were coming, most of them were foreigners, and they used to come to India because the surrogacy law was not so stringent, and it was very open or welcoming, and they were able to have a baby of their desired, the way they wanted, in lesser amount than in comparison to European countries or American countries, even in the subcontinents like Asian countries like Thailand and all. Because in India, it's a highly populated country, and having a baby is not a big dilemma for those people who are under poverty, below poverty line, because they think that if they can earn livelihoods from there, why not to have such thing. And physically also they are actually little stronger, mentally also they are stronger. For them, the conditioning is that having 4 or 5 baby is a normal thing. So that has been exploited, though it is not the case actually, that a woman should be giving a birth of a baby without having a consent of her own, or thinking the pros and cons, how she's going to give them a kind of proper nutrition, or also a beautiful life, or education and other aftercare of the birth. Because the awareness lack of education is there in our country, which actually has made it a mushrooming industry. Maybe it was not like before, but as an activist, I feel when 2002 it came into practice, and people flocking from all throughout the corners of the world to have a baby, as even Raiji has agreed, there's a proper channelized kind of you can say workshop rather, by many doctors in Anand, Gujarat, because they have Gujaratis are very enterprising people, and generally they always feel that if anything has got commercial gain, why not to organize it. I'm not pinpointing on any of the caste or religion or region, but it's their benefit, or it's a kind of good attribute rather, I'll say, that they have a good attribute, so they commercialized it. And after seeing them, the doctors or the clinic owners or the quacks or the people who were actually coming to go for surrogacy, they used to go to Anand, and they have well organized hostels, doctors are on call, and they have system of having some kind of amount fixed to have a baby. They will take care of the neonatal also, and even the pregnant women also they will take care. So this became a common practice in many corners of India, and that's how they started having a lot of economy generation through this. So whenever there is something prevalent as a nature, that you all are educated people here and you can understand, then certain time comes where you actually forget every morality and all kind of what is called values in your social values also, ethical values also. So they started evading them. मतलब तोड़ने लग गए कानून को कि हाँ एक एक बच्ची यानी एक mother could have 3 to 4 times surrogacy. She can become a kind of desired surrogate mother, which is physically not allowed. Nowadays with a lot of stress and pollution and the kind of economy we are going through, this is always a want of things. So in all these circumstances, if a woman is subjected to go for 4 to 5 times of pregnancy, which is a very big physical change, mental change, biological change, and they were just doing it because, and the irony of the fact was that they were not even aware of it, that they're just getting 2 to 3 lakhs of rupees, where in comparison to America, India and America, in America if you surrogate, there is in certain states of America it's allowed, very legally allowed, so you don't have to run around for any kind of criminal activity, rather it is welcome. But certain certain states like New York and Michigan, it's not allowed. And in many parts of Europe also, it's not allowed. Certain parts of Europe, it's allowed. In Thailand, it is also an organized kind of, industry like India. So then the government realized, and the NGOs realized, and many women also came out, because they were just thinking that they are being used as a commodity. We women are the 50% of the entire population, and then they are being used as a commodity, which was a big subject of concern. And that's how the government took a kind of decision, though it was coming throughout in 2016 also. It was very widely discussed कि ये होना चाहिए या नहीं होना चाहिए. But somehow in 25th of December 2021, it came into practice as a act, or as a legal act. And then that's how where we realized that how much those women who were actually subjected to as a commodity, they were exploited. When the exploitation comes, then there is always a voice to stop those exploitations. And this act, it's called, as doctor advocates have also was saying, ART. It is called art means assisted reproductive technology. Means a person who does not have within their body, a lady, most of it, the lady who doesn't have many things which is lacking in being pregnant or carrying a baby, will be assisted through different technology, by either having a sperm donor, or maybe so many things were there. There are 5 types of surrogacy practice in India and in abroad. But now it has been completely brought into altruistic surrogacy. As Dr. Sahab was, Advocate Ji was saying that, Mr. Rai was saying that altruistic surrogacy is means paropkar ke liye, for humanitarian ground you are doing surrogacy. If a parent, a couple, intended couple, is not having a child from so many years, after trial and trial, and they are tired and they want to have their own child, because in any of the human nature, there is a concept of having oneness. Mera Bharat, Mera Desh, Mera family, Mere bacche. That has conditioned the human to have their everything own, your own home, your own friend, your own sister. This has brought that conditioning, which has come to that level where people always want to have, nahi nahi mujhe adopt nahi karna hai, I don't want to adopt, rather I want to have a biological child of mine, which is possible. Of course, science has given so much of advancement, and it is really doing wonders in the world, where a man cannot, we always used to, from the childhood we have read about it, that a man cannot have baby, but now it is possible to have a baby. Even a man can have a baby, which is so surprising. You will think ye kaise ho sakta hai, but it is all possible now. The same kind of artificial insemination and few alteration in the body of the man, and it will be possible to carry a child. So similarly, there's so much of methods of having surrogation. People just went on going for, kept on going for surrogation, though there is a very beautiful alternative, is adopting a child. And though this law in India of adoption is so complicated, rather it is so much stringent, that even if I'm a fair person who doesn't have a child and want to have a baby, will not be able to have it so easily. So this kind of people rather chose to have a surrogation child or surrogate child, rather than to go for adoption, where this also a government has to look into the matter, which I feel this act of art 2021 is the progression of going or promoting towards the adoption, because this law has become so stringent that it is not will be possible. You see, the law says a person or a woman or an intended couple can only have a child if they are from between the age group of 23 to 55 for men, and 20 I think 25 to 55 for men, and 23 to 50 for women. Now you see, the age, like intended couples age group has been defined, and again the surrogacy, a person who is going to surrogate, or mother who is going to surrogate the child, also has the age limit is 25 to 35. Now, as an educated person, as an aware citizen of yourself, you will find, and that also there's a third law, third clause into it, is that only the family members will be allowed to give become a surrogate mother. Where you can see in the kind of social fabric we are living, it is not easy to go or ask your sister or your sister-in-law or your mommy or chachi to become the surrogate, because you are not physically able to give a birth to a normal child. So in this small little slab, how it is possible to have a surrogate bacha or a baby, because the limit, it has limited so much that it is actually, I will say, that it is not convenient to have a surrogate baby, because if you tell your family members, they will say, no, why should I do, because I have already two babies or two children. I'm good enough, I don't want to take a pain. It is only possible in the family where there is a economy as a problem, where the money is not much enough, and you can offer them, or you rather sometimes you can blackmail them, that you can give them so much of indirect. It's not direct, because in legality it is not allowed to give any kind of payment to the person who's going to bear your child, or who's going to grow your child. So in that kind of case, you see, family itself will be having a kind of problematic situation, or the relationship will be strange, rather strained, that ये मैंने इसको तो पूछा था, इसने तो मेरे को मना कर दिया, मेरे को बच्चा नहीं हो रहा है, फिर भी देखो ये कैसी है, ये मेरे लिए खड़ी नहीं हुई. So इतना लिमिट कर देना is not, I think it is not very advisable. Of course, I welcome the entire process of art, but the thing is that you have to have a kind of blanket for commercial surrogacy. Because if you say strictly completely you forgive and forget everything about commercial surrogacy, which was also very convenient method of being having a baby, which I think a government or a law which is definitely, it has been recently 3 months before has been made. And there is always, I really congratulate government for making such a nice kind of formulation of law. But there is always a scope for change and alterations and improvement, which they are always open to. Because I have seen many discussions on television, and other also have kept on reading many things, and they are saying that even the government people who were involved in making this law, they were saying we are open to ideas and yes, for reforms. So of course the reforms will be there, but what about if you see that there is always a kind of concept which is called fashion surrogacy. So fashion surrogacy has been completely banned through this law, which is a very good call, because it should be, because you should not make a body of other women as a playground, that if you want a third baby, or you having already two children, but still you want to have a baby because you are very fond of children. So you are not considering, only just because you are a rich person, you're having a silver spoon in your hand, then you're just thinking you can buy anything and you can do anything. This has been stopped by this law, which is really really warm welcome for that. And then ethical values, which says that renting out your in India, rather, I will say, it's not in the other customs or culture, but in India, we always used to look down upon a person or a woman who used to rent their womb for other persons. But it is a very good thing, because now the law says that it is only altruistic, यानी सिर्फ परोपकार के लिए ही आप कर सकते हो. बट परोपकार के लिए यदि मुझे करना है, तो if my suppose I'm a earning person, I have a good lifestyle, I'm earning quite well, but my family member will not have any problem in having so called, they're not wanting to have a surrogate baby, or they don't need it. But my friend who is also having some kind of physical problem, or due to that the couple cannot carry the baby. So you tell me, why, as a person, as an individual, I am a social worker, if I feel like giving being a surrogate mother for her, why I have been restricted? why it is not allowed to me, that even if I'm not a poor, from the poor background, still I want to do only for altruistic purposes. Why I have not been given that chance to? So I have been restricted, which is, a law has to look into the matter, that yes, a person completely with a good intention to help a person's emotions and their need, physical kind of they feel that biologically, if you have surrogate parent or surrogacy, they can always become a biological parent of those that baby. So that gives them a confidence that yes, ye mera bachcha hai. So if they feel happy about it, and I'm ready for that, so why I've been restricted? Only your family member will be allowed to give the chance to become a surrogate mother. So there is some question which is to be answered by the government, and alteration is required. And then also I'll tell you that one thing which I liked it about it, especially, that only the foreigners from abroad, foreign nationals, were the people who used to come and ask for surrogacy here, and they were just doing it because it was cheaper here and nicer and very convenient here. Why foreigners? In India, you have 1.8 crores of couples who are actually childless, who are actually, there is an infertility in them due to certain different or many reasons. So why not to look into that, where their foreigners were getting benefit and our own people were neglected, because they always used to pay higher. If I have to become a surrogate, I will definitely ask for a bigger amount of money. But if a poor person will have to become a surrogate mother, she will only be happy with the, I was seeing one of the day on television, they were saying that 3 lakh rupe mile hain mujhe. So you see how, where in America it is 100, 1 lakh dollar, you can say, they are asking for one surrogacy. So here you are only paying 25,000 US dollar, or maybe much less than that. 25,000 is a big amount. Even 1,000 they don't get sometime, 75,000 rupees also they don't get sometime. They are very happy having 1 lakh रुपए मिल गया, 2 लाख रुपए मिल गया, हमें क्या फर्क पड़ता है जी, हमें तो पूरा घर का सब कुछ राशन वाशन दे दिया, एंड द डॉक्टर्स आर टेकिंग गुड केयर ऑफ मी, आई एम वेरी हैप्पी. So where is the commercialization of the surrogacy? Actually, the commercialization was only for the quacks, for the doctors, for the clinics, or for the people who are just coming and getting benefit. The person who is having a complete changeover in their body was not getting benefit. तो वहां भी हमें देखने की जरूरत है कि इस तरह के बायोलॉजिकल जो चेंजेस होते हैं उसको हमने बेनिफिट को रोक दिया, एंड ओनली नाउ इंडियंस आर देयर who can be benefited. But the benefit का जो वो slab रखा है, that is very very low and very very stringent, which will not benefit many of the childless couple, which should not be objective of any of the rule. Then you have one more thing, that आजकल आपने देखा होगा कि nationality की प्रॉब्लम हो जाती है because of the children who become before it used to be, not after 25th 21 act I'm talking about. Before it used to be like he was referring about Maji Samada Maji, that was a Japanese child and he was born, and the difference between the couple, and then the Maji was supposed to go to Japan, and there was an identity crisis of the child, that dono, but though they were separated, so what to do now? So these kind of situations, those this abandonment also happens even in India also right now also. After this law also there will be a problem. Suppose there is in my family, I'm ready to be the surrogate mother, and after some time, if I have the problem with my, maybe if I'm surrogating for my brother's family, and I feel like no, I'm not doing very good thing about, they are not very good people, or they are not going to be very obliged, or maybe whatever moral commitment they are not going to have, and I decide not to go for it in between, then what is going to have to the child who is actually in my womb? Have the government has ever thought of that, abandoned child, or he's would be or going to be, give come out in the world, will not be their questions and their needs will not be answered. So this has to be very strictly clearly explained in the act, which is actually the act is silent. And one more thing, I saw the Raiji was saying about abhi the in process when the 25th of December happened. Before that, there were so many surrogacy was happening or about to happen, and they were in under the process. What will happen to those? That was a very big point, which I felt that one has to take care of that. There are very many good things also, as I told you, ki nationality, then your ownness, exploitation of the women will be stopped. So many good things are there, but many aspects are there which could be they're actually unanswered. And those unanswered points which I feel from my side is that, when there is breach of contract, what is the answer? Breach of contract, really there is no answer in the law. Then insurance coverage, as even Raji was saying, there will be insurance coverage to be given to the surrogate mother. That is only 16 months, 16 months insurance will be covered. She will be covered while going for this under the contract of this surrogacy at present, as per the new law. Is 16 months enough? See, suppose anything happens after the birth of the child, and 9 months, and another, you can say, chalo, 6, 7 months more further. But after that, also there are a lot of mental stress, because every time when you are surrogating for others or for some purposes, there is a lot of mental pressure going on, which has not been dealt. When there are no organization which are actually talking about it. Mental health is a big issue. Anybody who is going through a physical and mental change during the pregnancy, and after giving the birth also, maybe after some time she develops a big kind of physical disability. Sometime in general case also, sometimes it happens, they develop dementia, they become schizophrenic after giving birth. So you see, after giving a birth of that surrogate mother, she might develop a kind of severe disease. There is no mention of how to take care of those diseases. There is a line, there is a word, I read about it in the law. There is a word that after it, but after, if any severe physicality is there, what is the law saying? That is the complete protection, because she is giving birth to a baby who is going to be the lifelong with her, with the parent, with the intended couple. When intended couple can have the benefit and pleasure of having a child for lifelong, why not to give a protection to that surrogate mother for lifelong, or maybe a handsome amount or handsome kind of prepositions which will help her. So this also, I feel somewhere it is not very good thing. But the another thing which I'm unhappy about it is that, there is also, as a woman, I don't call myself as a feminist, because when I call myself as a feminist, there is always a question mark on not being fair to the male community. So feminism doesn't mean that you are only saying that female are good. There is a balance has to be created between men and women to actually run around the life of society, the nation, and the world at large. So once I'm saying, as a woman activist, I feel who I have a complete sympathy and empathy for women who have been exploited throughout many ages, throughout all these years. I feel that I have a right to choose, as a fundamental right. I'm equal to all, equal to LGBT also, equal to my men folk also, and equal to among my women also. So why, as a mother, suppose if I'm a young girl of 25, I have not been married yet, but I have the body to bear a child, isn't it? But why I'm not allowed to have a child of my own with surrogacy? Suppose if I feel like, because I have already started my career at the age of 20, and despite the 25 years, I'm very good in my economy generations. Then why have not been given chance to choose or to become a surrogate if I feel like, even without being a married person? I don't have to be compulsorily married and have one child. 5 years of 5 years of my marriage, then only I can be a surrogate mother. So I, as an independent person, as an adult, I can go for it. My body is allowing me. I should be allowed, but it has not been allowed because you have to be married. the worst thing which I feel as an activist, that since section 377, which actually decriminalizes the homosexuality in India, has been addressed already. It's under the progression of kind of as an act where we will be allowing lgbtq community as legal rights they will be given. Once under we are under this progression already, once the act is being surrogacy act is being made at the in 21, why this has not been addressed, why they have been actually, that is the big pleasure. Say a homosexual person, or maybe a lesbian, or transgender, or queer, anybody who feels like having a, or getting that pleasure of being a parent. It's not necessary that they don't have career. Now they are being given in their government job, and even so called all these industries, and these MNCs, they have been given instruction by the government to give them job. If they are earning members, they are having a respectable life, they are living as a community, why they have not been addressed? Suppose this is the best, as a woman I can confirm, and others also present in this forum will agree that this is one kind of pleasure which I think women can get, having a baby, growing a baby, going through the milestone of a baby, and then being called as a parent, being called as a caretaker. If even if I'm a lesbian, or even if I'm a homosexual, and having earning a good amount, I can have a baby, I can raise that baby well, I can give them good education, good protections, good kind of lifestyle, good food, good everything, I can afford for that baby. But I have been kept aside altogether. So a woman cannot have the pleasure of being a mother without getting married, which is very big question mark. Why I have to be married all the time just to be a parent? And why not lesbian couple, or homosexual couples, or anybody, gay couple, they will have their pleasure of having or raising a child. So this is a very big question which has to be answered, and I'm very sure about it. The government is taking good care of those questions which are coming, and they are hammering everywhere wherever we are going. You are trying to give them a kind of knock on that whatever the law is so restrictive, it should be as per me. In my conclusion, what I will be telling you, that I'm just coming to that part also. But one more thing I just wanted to talk about is that there is a divorce, and divorce is a reality, in any of the growing kind of country, or progressing country, or a developing country. It has become a kind of whenever there is an education, whenever there is a right consciousness, richness, and your awareness, and your right to live, about it, there is always a big kind of question comes on, that yes, I can do it, why not? So in that in that phenomena, where there is a divorce a reality, where there is a split parenthood is reality. If I am divorced today, my ex-husband also has the right to choose, so for example, a boy or a girl, whomever he prefers. I, as a splitted mother, can also have the right to grow a baby. Why I have not been addressed? Or why people like divorcee couples? Actually, I'm not divorced, but I can understand the pain of divorce. So I am saying that why the divorce couple has not been addressed. So there are few very major issues of humanity ground has not been addressed. And breach of contract is, as I told you, in case of that, it's a big issue. Maybe in at present also, I can deny not to be a surrogate in between. So in that case, I should be either abide by law that yes, you are not supposed to come back to whatever you have already signed the contract in. So these things we need to take care of. But my personal submission after going through in a very elaborate manner the law of art law, I feel there should be mixture of commercial surrogacy and also the altruistic surrogacy in many countries. Many countries like we have countries like I think Nigeria, Kenya, and these countries, they don't have any law regarding surrogacy, so they just practice anything. If somebody is doing altruistically, somebody is doing as per the law, whatever is required. So in our country, which is a highly populated country and growing nation, economically also growing, and also educationally, literacy is also coming, awareness is also growing. So in that kind of situation, if the government is making a law, the government has to take very good care of the law, and very stringent practice has to be seen whether it is implicated well or not. There is a there is a law to give you 10 lakhs of rupees you one has to pay if you breach your any kind of you are found to be practicing illegally surrogacy, like commercial surrogacy is no more allowed. So any do you think, I'm asking to all of you present here, do you think that the industry of $2.8 billion is now going to stop in one day just because a law came? So there are more than 3,000 clinics, surrogacy clinics available in India, and there are many middlemans are they have established themselves as a middleman of the surrogacy. And then you have a lot of doctors involved in that, and many tourists already they were coming on and on for this kind of thing. Do you think that it will, just by passing a law where the country is completely under a kind of notion where you make a law but there is always a loopholes to go through it to reach that law is practiced here, this will be increasing, and they will be promoting under underprivileged practices, which will be very bad for the exploitation of more and further women. Because initially, at least under the surrogacy, there were certain contract where a person has to sign, and they could look after, and the organization could go for it. But now, since it is so strict, people will go for it because they are now habitual for it. Maybe down, but it is not going to go in one go that yes, stop. In this kind of practice, where you will find the exploitation of women who have been cultivated into a situation where they will be exploited, there will be no stop. If government has come up with kind of law, government has to take very good care of it, that it should be implemented well. If it is not implemented well, definitely there is going to be a lot of suffering to those women who are actually into it, or who will be forced to go for it. So yes, in my conclusion of this talk, I would say that there should be mixture of these two system, or these two methods of surrogacy, where the commercial surrogacy, if desired, should go for with a lot of checks and balances, with lots of money involved, in the sense for the benefit of those mothers surrogates, not for those hospitals, not for those nursing institutions, not for those coax or the middleman, but for the real bearer of the child is the surrogate mother. So if you're giving, instead of 3 lakhs, you make it more than 30 lakhs, or maybe 1 CR, or maybe after that further, lifelong kind of, coverage of insurance, where, a person is giving a becoming a surrogate mother, choosing to become a surrogate mother, should have insurance, benefits of those, child labor benefits, whatever we governments are giving. Then don't stop the women who are actually aware and they have the liking to give altruistic or do altruistic, surrogacy. They should be allowed. They should not be stopped, because it is my choice. I'm a free country, democratic country citizen. If I feel to do that, I should be do. Of course, it should not harm anybody. But if somebody is intended to, and they are very keen to come forward and say, nahi, mujhe to bachcha chahiye hi chahiye, I am not going to adopt because I don't feel comfortable in adopting a child, whether I should have a biological child. हाँ ठीक है, you should give the choice to that person after checking the economy background of the person, mental health of the person, physical health of the person, and definitely the bank balance, so that he is or she is giving a secured life to the child, who is actually giving, or intended couple. Then abandonment is the issue which has to be taken very good care, because in between also it happens, there was a kind of argument, that jo bacche zyada kar rahe the, in or many countries like Thailand, China, and in our country, they were actually pushed into prostitution, which will definitely stop, because having only one child or a two child through surrogation will be definitely checking those kind of malpractices. And encourage adoption. Adopting a child is a better option anyway, but the laws should be more straightforward, more welcoming, more awareness should be created for having a country like us, where the children, more than say about 3 million children are abandoned. They are living in orphanage, and they are not. And after this COVID, my friends, I must tell you, after this COVID, might be this has increased to more than what I have read about it. So try to be more considerate about having your adopted child rather than just going for surrogacy. So promote adoption rather of surrogacy, which actually needs a lot of biological and a lot of social pressure and exploitation. Avoid those kind of things. Adoption is a better option in any way, because you are helping your own nation by giving them good education, good benefits to the child, and child will have a family. The happiness will grow, the smile will grow in our life, and we will be called as a happy nation. So in conclusion, I would say there is a lot of good things in this law, and but yes, there are certain more, rather further, much thinner lines has to be read in between, and we have to come with some good solutions forever. So thank you very much for inviting me in this forum. I am just an activist and a writer and a playwright and an actor, but my point of view is always very straightforward. So if I have somewhere hurt anybody's feeling, I'm sorry for that. But yes, this is what I feel like it should be: mixture of commercial surrogation, if it is allowed, with a blanket. And beside that, of course, this altruistic surrogacy is a good choice within the family, but we have to also very strict about it, how to go about it and how to follow it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving suggestions relating to the benefits which should be given to a surrogate mother, commercial benefits given to a surrogate mother, and laws relating to adoption. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank
Babita,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you to Raiji also. I think Raiji is here or he has left.
No, no, no. He is here. He is here only.
Yeah, Raiji, now your comment.
Uh, Comments about what comment? I mean,
Like whether as an activist, as a
Yeah.
normal general woman, if I have put my point, what is your stake in it? What you want to add on it to it? What you think that yes, I have addressed well and it should be addressed?
no, no, I'm completely in agreement, but I have my own reservation with the word that it should be a mix of the commercialization as well as the altruistic. Rather than I prefer to follow the model or to get the seed from the Britain model, whereby they are allowing the altruistic model of the surrogacy, whereby they are covering the insurance charges as well as the kind of the medical expenses. But yes, at the same time, they are providing the prescribed expenses also. So that would be, I think, more suited for the Indian ecosystem, because we inherit a lot from the Commonwealth culture, Commonwealth way of the style, and everything is there. Even the law is being derived a lot from the Commonwealth. So, in sense, I got your point, what you want to say, but yes, I have a bit reservation so far as the commercialization is concerned. Rest of
It should be mixture. I said mixture means,
yes,
there are certain good things about commercial surrogacy which could be, practiced with blanket. Means, once all the malpractices which was happening in commercial surrogacy should be stopped, and checks and balances should be given to that. But, there are, if practical stories, if real stories, if you'll go through it, you will find that there are women who have really been very helped. They have been benefited with this commercial kind of surrogacy, because they were dying with food. No, there was no food for them. There were no food for the children. They have already 2 3 children they were raising all together. So somewhere they were helped, they were benefited. The doctors also have taken, because it is now organized, so doctors also have taken care of them. Only the money part, which they have been always paid less, should be taken good care. So that, if I'm not saying that they keep on going for the surrogation. But of course, if suppose I have a child, and still I feel that my economy is so bad, and I'm aware, and I'm fully made aware of my rights and duties being a surrogate mother, and the benefits which I'm going to get as a surrogate mother, that poor woman from that criteria, or from that kind of class, will definitely go for it. Because for them, earning livelihood is much bigger a question than just having 9 months pain. So it's a matter of choice, Rai Sahab. Because, if I have been given a choice and I feel that I'm fit for it, if instead of dying or making my child or 2 children already a beggar, it's a good choice to go have a surrogacy, and earn some livelihood with protection and blanket,
that's
and then of course I can go for it.
I agreed, ma'am. That is the thing. Obviously, you have your autonomy on your body. That option cannot be ruled out, and these are the kind of the objections while formulating this particular bill, because this matter was referred to the select committee of the parliament, and even during that particular discussion, this question came into effect. I have gone through the bill procedure also, but yes, I think so far as the managing the livelihood, why only this particular legislation? Why we are stressing so much on the surrogacy bill also? Why not we are looking beyond this particular thing? There are number of things also to work upon it. So far as the empowering, or so far as emancipating the women's right is also. Why only the surrogacy? Why not other things also? We have to think beyond the surrogacy, because the moment we are talking about that, it should be a option or the golden mean to sustain my life, to sustain my livelihood. I have some dilemma, some doubt about that, rather than we have to go beyond this particular thing.
But Raiji, the surrogacy actually emerged, or arised due to the urge of having your own baby. Once, there are 1.8 million people or couple who are not having baby, it came as an option with the developed science technology, and people have the right to use the science and technology if it is available, and it was convenient also to some point of time. So if it is done with
Man,
the proper
you
instruction,
know
it is
the
good. Otherwise, you should not go for it. Of course,
Man, the
in our
world is
youth.
divided on this particular aspect. You know very well that there are much developed country having the high HDI index also in the world, like the Iceland as well as the Denmark. There is completely ban on any form of the surrogacy. So I'm not saying ki what you are saying that is not a right perspective. That is one view. But yes, since the world is completely divided on this particular aspect, we have to think from both the perspectives. I have
Surrogacy
a
in
very,
America is
very,
much more
very,
than
very,
India.
I have a very particular reservation with the fact that why we are only looking the subsistence of the livelihood, so far as you pointed out, through the process of the surrogacy. Why not we are thinking beyond that particular thing?
Yes, we gave an option of adoption. That's the
Yes,
best option. I never
we
said that
cannot limit
surrogacy is the best
ourselves.
option.
We
I,
cannot
I, I
limit
said
ourselves. We
always
have
it's
to
an
go beyond.
alternative. I said it is always an alternative. It is not
Yes,
a
yes, yes,
option.
yes, yes,
Adoption is the best option. Of course,
yes,
adoption is
yes.
the best option.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Now you can ask the question.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, my question is, ma'am, my first question from the sir that as he had mentioned that according to the surrogacy regulation bill 2019, that Indian couples could go for surrogacy only after the 5 years of marriage. So doesn't it limiting the fundamental rights, Article 21 of the people, that their right to choose that how I want to live, that how they want to live, that they can choose for that surrogacy whenever they want. So isn't it limiting that right, that fundamental right?
I'm sorry, sorry. Actually, Vikrant, I think I had dealt with this particular aspect also. Ki if we are going to put such kind of the limitation, that is against a kind of the violation of my right to procreation also. Because if on the one hand you are validating something, yes, I can go for the altruistic measure of the surrogacy, but at the same time, I think probably we have to keep the intention of the legislation also. The very much intention of the legislation is to avoid the kind of the misuse of the surrogacy. And as on date, I'm in agreement with you, but let's see, because somehow we have to keep in mind the wider objective behind the enactment of this particular legislation. But yes, to certain extent, I'm in agreement with you.
भूल जाते हैं आगे Now I was hearing, concentrating on the subject. Basically, both speakers have covered all the aspects of. So I think I will specifically have not gone through this out. So it will be not appropriate to ask. Otherwise, whatever I have heard, I have already so far that Abha has rightly said, and in conclusion that adoption is better, but surrogacy is that alternative. You mean. So I think it is good. What I don't have because I have not thought over this subject.
But Mishra ji,
Sufficiently.
me and Raisa were enough to make you understand what exactly the law is all about.
Right.
Ah, yes.
Right.
Well,
Raisa
actually,
was very elaborate in that.
yes. Actually, he has elaborated the same, but what he has said, I could not concentrate. But so I
Okay.
could understand you because this is a good opportunity that it should be given to the society this benefit.
Thank
Also,
you.
I think that from a very beginning, Vedic era adoption has been coming. Uh, both Lena, that very sacred thing, and it is celebrated in very sacred manner also. This is the way in Hindu style. But this has been also introduced surrogacy. That is also alternative according to the change of the world. It is better.
Yes, you are right.
So far I could understand this.
Yes.
And I
Anybody
could
else
not
has
get
a
the.
question?
There is a lucky. There is a Yes, there is a Lucky ma'am in the group. Lucky ma'am, are you able to listen me? Lucky Tyagi ma'am.
She's
She has
there.
unmute herself. She has unmute
Okay.
herself.
Anyway, I just wanted to ask because she's very,
Yeah,
very active.
I can hear you, Sam. I've listened to the entire
Okay,
thing.
ma'am, what's your view? Because I wanted to know your view because you are very much concerned. You are very much associated with the women's right, as well as you educate the various kind of the issue in favor of the women. So after all this discourse, what's your view? We want to know your independent view actually.
Yeah, absolutely. My independent view, and I've listened to you, and I've listened to Bhaji, and so my view is somewhere in between both of you. And I think Abhaji also said that, that she wants it to be an industry like commercialization with checks and balances. So, I first of all, of course, there is the autonomy of the body, the individual, whether they are a woman or whether they are a man, they have a complete choice over their body and over their life choices as well. So in that sense also, I think the woman has the choice, the choice to decide whether she wants to be a surrogate or not, or whether, and even from the other perspective, whether she wants to a baby through surrogacy or not, whatever
Okay.
the reasons. But yes, there was so much exploitation when it came to commercialization that there has to be a way out of that. I completely agree on that point, but I am not against complete commercialization. I think commercialization should be left to the person doing it as a choice. It should not be a blanket ban in it. That's what I feel. But yes, we will have to be very, very vigilant because at the end of the day, it is a hope, it is an option for so many childless couples who, for whatever reason, cannot adopt
Yeah.
because there are so many reasons. The adoption law is so complicated. Sometimes the mindset is such. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong that they don't want that it should be their own sperm, or I mean that it should be biologically their own baby. So there are so many reasons they may not want to go in for adoption. So then this gives them hope. And if you're just limiting it to family and altruistic purposes, like you both have discussed in detail, it may not always be possible.
Lucky ji, it is not only, it's only within the family. The limitation is that only the family members can get ready to become the surrogate mother, which
I
is
know
such a
that.
difficult thing to ask in within the family. As a
Very
commercial,
limited.
as a commercial surrogacy was allowed, where you can go and search for your better surrogate, and you can facilitate, if you are aware person, if you have money, you can facilitate that lady or the mother, and you can be always mutual on their own agreement. But now, since there is only within the family you are allowed to have a surrogate mother, I think it becomes very difficult to choose a mother for surrogacy.
I completely agree. It is a very limited choice field. But then my question is, having said everything that I did say and having agreed that it needs to be perhaps allowed to be commercialized with checks and balances, the bigger question is how will we go about deciding those checks and balances and how will we implement them? So there has to be still a bigger study and a bigger reform of the law and a bigger implementation issue. So
the
how
good
will
the
we
good thing about is that the law, that art law 21 is very elaborate about what kind of surrogate institute should be, what kind of doctors and fertility center should be, how the board will be, the state board, the central board, the in between there is a bridging board. So they have defined that very clearly. So the only the question arises is that they should implement those things well, and there should be no middleman, there should be no under the table work, which is not the job of a person who is doing a surrogacy, but a person who is actually the legislative people who are actually the law binder and the law protector. It's their job. So, and of course the NGOs also will work into this field. Otherwise, it is not possible only to expect from the government. The NGOs can also put some checks and balances. They can also be vigilant while deciding whether these kind of organization is working well or not. So there is that is always welcome in democratic setup. So that's okay. But only thing is that we have to also decide that yes, is it really very good to have only within the family? So we can always make an alteration by asking the government to module it, to reform it, to add on certain more good better things and revise the things. That's what is the question. Otherwise so many things are good. And why not surrogacy? Because surrogacy is being practiced from many ages. So if it is it's an option, why not to go for it an option? If the adoption is a better option, why not to go for an adoption better option? But then there is a choice. If I am a person with that kind of mentality where I feel like मुझे तो अपना physical बच्चा ही चाहिए, तो go for surrogacy. If मुझे चाहिए नहीं, no, I don't mind for black or white or caste or creed. I have a baby whom I can protect. And more or less, as an activist, I will tell you one thing, and as an actor also, I'll tell you one thing. It is more of bonding, and bonding is only achieved through milestone. When you hold a baby in your hand, when you do all the work which is related to motherhood, you are not only giving good protection and good care, that develops the bonding. You don't need to have a biological parent only just to have a, that is the selfishness that you say nahi mera bachcha, mere flesh and blood ka bachcha. No, bachcha is when you are developed a bonding. Even if it is a flesh and blood, you might not be taking good care of that baby. You see the abandoned child, you see the kind of atrocities being done on those, child abuse and all other things. Where is the where the humanity comes in that time? Then you have to take account of all these factors when you are deciding.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I think, yes, exactly.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, yes, that's the question.
And what
Thank
exactly
you
I
very much.
was
I
like,
think I need to leave because I have another engagement. Is
Yes.
any question I can answer? Otherwise, I'm really need to leave.
No, no, thank you, ma'am, for joining us.
Thank you,
And there
Shivangi.
is a message from Livisha. Thank you so much, speaker. Session was really
Thank you.
fruitful, amazing, and knowledgeable. Looking forward for another such session.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Babita. Thank you, Raji.
Thank you, ma'am.
Rai, thank you Shyam, so much.
So now we can end up our session. Yeah. Mm, mm, right.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Lovely
much
to be here.
for this.
Lovely to be here. Bye.
Bye, ma'am. Mm.
Yes, sure.
Yeah,
Babita,
sure,
you call
sure.
me later tomorrow for a health camp, okay?
Mm.
Okay.
Thank you. And there is one more message from Vikrant Kumar Singh. Thank you so much, ma'am. No, he has written now. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you to all the speakers for brilliantly expressing their views on the topic. The session is really insightful.
Very
Thank
good.
Thank you, Vikant.
I'm happy that we could create some kind of thought process.
you. Right.
Sure, sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm
Hope
not
to
able
meet
to
you soon.
delete. I'm not able to exit from here. What is this?
They,
Let me try again. Yes, I should be.